You have chilies on Nogada, Christmas style. A roasted poblano that is stuffed with your top sirloin, browned with bacon, onion, garlic, and other spices to create a picadillo. Red bell peppers were skewered and grilled and added to the picadillo. On the bottom, the Nogada sauce is your canned pumpkin puree, walnuts, and cream cheese.
Doesn't that look delicious? Let's make it happen. Wait, that didn't work. Let me try again. Hello, welcome. So what we're going to do first is the poblanos, but before we actually get started, in the description below, you can see the game plan and a little set of instructions. It's not quite a recipe because a recipe means we have measured ingredients, and I don't like to cook like that, so we're just gonna vibe it out. The first thing we're going to do is the poblanos. In the competition, he deep fried them, but we're not gonna do that. We're just going to roast them. So I've already greased them on this like lined baking sheet, and we're going to broil it on high. We're going to do 5 minutes on one side. We're gonna take it out, we're going to flip them over, and then we're going to let them broil on the other side for about 5 minutes. So this is about the doneness that you're looking for. Ideally, it's this black all around, but I'm a little bit impatient, and so like this one is really good because this one is black all around. So what we're going to do now is cover them so that they can steam. It'll help loosen up the skin right before we have to skin them.
Stuff them.
Before we stuff them, yep.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to, I don't know why, I don't need that. We're just gonna set these aside and move on to the next step. The next step is to take our butternut squash and roast them. He had to poach an ingredient, and I wanna say that boiling these was considered poaching it, which they're not the same thing, so I'm not sure what happened there. But to add more flavor, what we're going to do is roast them so that they get nice and colored.
Sure.
We're going to preheat our oven to 425. If you can see here, this is not 425, it's higher because our oven is a little bit weird. It's like 40 degrees off. But we're just going to oil it and salt it and then just stick it in there for about 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
While the butternut squash is roasting in the oven, what we're going to do is get started on our picadillo. In the show, he had to do top sirloin. That was one of the ingredients they had to use. And they put it through, what's that thing called?
A grinder.
A meat grinder. In addition to the top sirloin, they also ground bacon, some onions, and garlic. We're not going to do all of that. We're just gonna stick with ground beef because that's gonna be pretty straightforward. We're doing 2 pounds of ground beef because we're making this for my sister who recently had a baby, so we're gonna take that over there. But anywho, we're also not going to grind the bacon either. What we did is we chopped it up relatively into little bits. Pro tip for the bacon, in order to make that process easy, stick it in the freezer for like 10 to 15 minutes. If you buy the ones that are laid out flat, if you buy the ones that are just like one solid slab that's been cut, I would stick it in the freezer for a little bit longer, maybe like 30 minutes, just to make it easier to chop because it really does make a big difference. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started. I turned on my pan. I did not wait for it to heat up. Notice there is no sizzle, and that is okay. The reason why that's okay is because what we want is to make sure the fat renders out, and if that happens slowly, that actually helps us out. We're going to do this not till it's like fully cooked and crispy, but just enough
to melt some of the fat.
And then we're gonna put in our beef, and then we'll like add veggies and season it in a bit. So I'll be back when we're ready for the beef. So this is what we're looking for in terms of the bacon. The fat has rendered and it's not yet crispy because we're gonna stick in the ground beef and we're going to let that crisp up in a bit. So I'm gonna do that off camera because that's not gonna be cute, and we'll be right back when all that's in there. I put in the ground beef, it's on high. What we're going to do is just let it cook. We're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's almost ready for the next step, just so that you know what I'm talking about when I talk about it. This is what we're looking for. The beef is cooked. I had put a lid on it just so that it can, cook through. there's a whole bunch of liquid, this water. So what we're going to do is keep it on high and let that water evaporate so that what's left is the fat, and then the meat will start cooking in the fat and start caramelizing and getting brown, which is gonna take some time, so be right back. Okay, so this is what it should look like when the water has evaporated. There's like a pool of grease on the bottom, and if I mix it, you could even hear that it's sizzling, and some pieces of meat are actually getting stuck on the bottom, which means that we've, again, successfully evaporated the water, and now we're starting to develop some color. So we're going to do this for a few minutes before we add our veggies, just so that the beef could get a little bit more color, because more color means more flavor. I guess you were just looking at the beef the whole time instead of me.
The whole time.
That's okay. We're gonna use it anyway. We're gonna put garlic in this stage. We're gonna let it, I don't wanna say fry because it's not really frying, but it is getting color. Because I cut the garlic like very thick and I wasn't about to, cut it thinner. We're gonna put the garlic in now because they're in big chunks. And then maybe in about a minute, put in the veggies. It's been about an additional just minute. Come a little bit closer so you can see the bottom. So you can see that, there's like some fond. I think that's like the fancy term for it. Some crispiness, I think you were gonna say.
Crispy bits, yeah.
So what we're going to do is add the onions. I added about a small onion and then half of a really large red onion and then some red pepper. We're gonna toss that in there. And we haven't salted anything. So what we're going to do is give it a decent pinch of salt. How much salt to put? Honestly, the best thing you can do when it comes to seasoning with salt is use 1, a coarse salt, and then 2, learning to use your hands. So I just typically grab a pinch. There's no salt in here, so I know that this amount is not even a lot. We're gonna do 1 additional pinch, and then when we actually start to add the seasonings, we'll taste for solidity. But what's gonna happen now is the water is going to start coming out of the veggies, and that's gonna help us scrape the crispy bits on the bottom to add to the flavor. I also think 2 pounds of meat might have been too much, but
It's okay.
we can have leftovers. While the veggies are sweating in this meat sauce, we can actually get started on the Nogada sauce. Did I say meat sauce?
No.
Okay, for the Nogada sauce, it was pretty simple when he did it. They had to use canned pumpkin, so I already have that here. Last night, I actually cooked it down to get rid of the moisture, the metallic flavor. I also prepared the walnuts, which makes the Nogada sauce, by also soaking them in water overnight. I just dumped them in a bowl, put some water, top it with a plate, and just left that overnight. Drained it in the morning so that it's ready to be used. And a Nogada sauce, from my understanding, has some sort of dairy. The dairy that he used was cream cheese, so that's what we're gonna do too. So this is a softened block of cream cheese, our walnuts, and then this can of pumpkin. And because, where's the top? And because that's not gonna blend without liquid, we're gonna add
A little bit of milk.
a little bit of milk, and then we'll adjust based off of what's happening. This is what it looks like after blending for,
I think that's a good consistency too.
yeah, a good minute. We obviously added more liquid, so what we're gonna do is season it. Now, this one was a little bit tricky because he didn't put too much seasoning, and I briefly Googled a few different recipes, just skimming through it to get a general vibe or an idea of what it is. And from my understanding, there's not too much seasoning. We're gonna add a little bit of sugar to balance out the bitterness of the walnuts. The soaking should have helped the bitterness, but I tasted it and it was still a little bit bitter. So we're gonna add just a pinch of sugar, some salt.
Are you gonna taste it now how it is though?
Yes,
Oh.
some salt, and then some of the spices that we're going to be using in the thingamajiggerbob.
The picadillo.
Yes. Here I go tasting it now. It tastes like it has no flavor.
Okay.
It's just texture.
You don't taste the cream cheese or the pumpkin?
I feel like the walnuts really come through,
Okay.
which is actually pretty cool. It is a subtle flavor.
Okay.
So I don't want to do too much. So let's add some salt. That much.
Jesus.
And then some sugar. I washed my hands, so don't judge me. We're gonna do 2 pinches. Did I say anything else?
No, you're gonna add the flavoring of anything else?
Yeah, we're gonna put a little bit of nutmeg. In a world where you could buy nutmegs just one at a time, like a whole nutmeg, I would just be using that. But because I didn't need 5 of them, we're just gonna use the pre-ground stuff. Not too much because this has a lot of flavor. That much. Take a look just to see how little we actually put. Just to be on the safe side, you don't want to put too much. We'll give this a little blend.
No cinnamon?
Oh, yeah. And then a dash of cinnamon. Maybe like the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, just to be safe because we can always add more later. BRB. Just kidding. BRB. So we made some more adjustments. It was a lot of tasting, deciding,
Adjusting.
adjusting. We added a little bit of lemon. Ideally, we would have had a lime. I think that brightened it up in a way that it needed it. And then we did end up adding not more salt because the amount of salt we put was the right amount, especially considering that all this is going to have, you know, a decent amount of flavor. We did end up a little more pinch of nutmeg and a little bit more pinch of cinnamon, and so far so good. So we're just going to put this in a container and then
Finish.
we're gonna keep it in this thing.
Yes.
And then we're gonna finish the meat sauce not the meat sauce, the picadillo. Why do you keep calling it that? I added some cilantro because we're going to use some for garnish. So I used a lot of the stem portions of the cilantro in here. In my brief perusing of some recipes of picadillo,
That looks yummy though.
I saw people use tomato paste or tomato sauce, some sort of canned tomato product. And I think that he must have done that because when we saw the episode, the picadillo had a little bit more of a color to it. So we're going to add, don't look at me because I'm going to the fridge. We're going to add a little bit of this tomato sauce.
Because it's what we got.
Because it's what we got. Just like
Okay.
that much.
Yep.
And then we could actually start seasoning. Let me just clean this and then we'll be back to season this. Great, so this is what I have. Garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, thyme, and then I have a combination of allspice, nutmeg, and cinnamon. So what we're going to do is just season it. Primarily, we're going to start with garlic and onion powder. This is a pro tip. I sometimes do measure when it comes to seasoning stuff, just, you know, to get a ballpark idea of what I need. I typically do about a teaspoon of garlic and onion powder per pound of meat. I put 2 pounds in here. Oh, that was hot. I put 2 pounds in here. I don't want the garlic flavor to be strong, so I'm just gonna do a teaspoon, and then we can adjust later if we need to. We'll do a teaspoon of the onion powder.
Yeah, you're going to have to pinch that in your hand.
Yeah. We also need a new one. This looks
Not too
little.
much because that's really strong, low-key.
Yeah, so a tablespoon. I'm sorry, a teaspoon. That's a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'll do maybe like half a teaspoon.
Yeah.
Then we'll go like this because it helps release the flavor of the dried herbs. And then we'll do the same for the thyme.
Half a teaspoon, yeah. That was half?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And then for these, instead of relying on teaspoons, we're just going to do what we did for the Nogada sauce and just add a little bit at a time. Let's add some nutmeg. Maybe like that much. And then literally that much of allspice.
Barely.
Yep. And then we're gonna give this a mix. We'll let these flavors marinate, get to know each other. It smells good. And then we'll come back. So we gave it a taste and okay, it's a banger. The only addition we're going to do is
Add some bouillon.
add some chicken bouillon because it needs just a tad of salt. So we might as well use
All right.
some chicken bouillon because it's gonna add solidity and then a little bit of je ne sais quoi. We'll give this a mix and then we'll add in our butternut squash and then we could get started on stuffing. Fantastic. So off camera, what we did is we skinned the poblanos and we stuffed it. And to be honest, we could have charred more our poblanos because they were really hard to skin, and I'm sure the one that I did is still gonna have skin on it, but that's okay. We're gonna start plating. So what he did in his show, or on the show, is he did a layer of this. So I'm gonna do 2 dollops
Anogado?
of the enogado sauce. I'm gonna grab our
No, you should grab that from the stand.
I'm gonna grab a bigger spatula. I grabbed a bigger spatula. Should I plate it this way or this way?
That way.
This way?
Yeah.
Stem that way.
Yes.
Okay. Gently, gently.
Ooh,
Cute.
pretty.
Stunning. We're going to put
some more
some
sauce.
more sauce that I put in the squeeze bottle. And we're going to zigzag that on there. Pretty.
Yeah.
We're going to top it with our pomegranates. I'm so nervous.
Sprinkle on the side.
Sprinkle.
On the side off the plate. There we go.
Ooh, cute. And then our cilantro.
Right on top.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Wow. She's pretty.
Ooh, yes. And then we got to take the thumbnail before we eat it. And now it's time to give it a taste. So it's hard to get the first bite. Just gonna eat the whole thing. That was actually really delicious. I ate it all and I low-key want to hurry up, wrap this up to eat another one. The sauce itself, the Nogada sauce, was really, really good. I thought that it was a nice texture. The one that he made looked a little too thick, and one of the comments was that it needed to be thinner. I looked online like I did, and I noticed that the Nogada sauces are actually pretty thin, and I'm actually really grateful for the one that we did because it was still very creamy and light without being like super runny, and I think that was really nice. The only thing I would change is perhaps figuring out how to incorporate sour cream into that. So maybe instead of adding the full block of cream cheese, or instead of adding
All that extra milk.
like somehow incorporating again sour cream, because I think that tangy note would be super delicious. The picadillo itself was top notch. No notes. I think the warming spices were really good. The cinnamon, the nutmeg, the allspice. It was like really fragrant, and when you ate it, there was like a nice like warm lingering flavor in your mouth that was like really, really cool.
And the squash.
Oh, and the squash, I would make them just a little bit smaller so that as you're eating it, you can actually have some more in every bite. As far as the garnishes are concerned, cilantro, I don't think I mentioned this. I would actually add that. Okay, there's a few things I would do for the picadillo, even though it did feel really good. I would add more cilantro in the picadillo to get more of that cilantro flavor. And the pomegranates were a nice, refreshing, sweet crunch, which was really amazing. I would 100% make this again.
Yes.
And I know for a fact, when I take it to my sister, she's gonna love it.
Yep.
And on that note, thanks for watching this episode of Recreated Kinda. I hope that you were inspired to get into the kitchen and make something super delicious, not with the recipe, but with some intuition. You'll see me next week. Peace out.
Bye. Oh, that's not cute. That looked like hair.
Did you see that?
Yes.
It's the fiber of the cilantro.
Jesus.
Because when I ripped it off of the stem, it,
Oh,
it
yeah.
you know.